Welcome to Relax Time Radio, broadcast nightly from 7:30 to 9 p.m. on Radio Thailand, Chiang Mai.
Hello, welcome to Relax Time Radio.
Good
You're here with me, Paul.
evening and Mun.
Good evening. I like that. You held that really nicely together. That phrase there. Welcome to Relax Time Radio and Friday night show where we talk things like social impact and travel and entrepreneurship. And we've kind of decided, since I had the idea on air last week or a couple of weeks ago, to maybe call our show
Yeah,
Life Hacks, just
like
to make
2
it short
weeks.
and sweet.
Yeah.
And then I had doubt. Massive doubt overcame me.
Paul was like, that is so hipster. I was like, we are hipster.
Yeah, we just decided to own the hipsterism. So, all right, hipster.
We're nerdy hipsters.
Okay, hipster or not, nerdy hipster or not, it's now more or less decided that we're going to be Paul and Mon on Friday doing life hacks.
Yes. And you know what? I think I never shared it, but I have a little bit of OCD, or a lot of it, and my camera is totally out of whack, which is my own fault today. So if you see me tilting my head all the time, that's because I'm trying to adjust to the camera for my own fault. Or I might jump up later and fix this because I have to look at it, and it's creeping me out.
No. We're right now on air and we're live streaming on YouTube. I'm just trying to edit the video a little bit before I share it on our Facebook page. But today, what we're going to be talking about today?
Make it hashtag. So, we're talking about social impact. We didn't have social impact for quite a while, so that's great. And we're going to talk about volunteering with and for animals, specifically more or less wild animals, but it doesn't have to be only wild or ex-wild or domesticated ones, but any type of animal. Anything that's that is going to be in the category of animals.
Yeah. Well, I had my own thoughts as well. I was going to ask you what kind of animals, actually, because I didn't know what you had in mind. Yeah, because, right, there's all sorts of ways you can get involved helping animals.
Yeah.
Both pets, farm animals, and wild animals. But you've been thinking mostly about wild animals.
Well, I think all of them, but I'm more, I don't want to say specialized, but I'm more dedicated to the wildlife or the what's left over from it. So
Good point.
yeah. Especially so, I also don't know if I shared it before, but I am or have been, actually I still am, but technically, whatever, it doesn't matter. I am a trained stress and rescue scuba dive instructor.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. This is why I came to Thailand 6 years ago.
I did a PADI course years ago in Thailand, but I never became an instructor or anything like that. That's very advanced.
And I literally, so the way I did it, I make it really short, the story. So I came to Thailand, I left Germany because I was like, this life in Germany sucks. I have to do something different. What could I do? Oh, I should become a scuba dive instructor. And then everyone looked at me and be like, Monique, that's a really dumb idea. With your chronic illnesses, you're going to die. I'm like, no way. I can do that. And so just for the plain reason to prove to myself that A, I can do it, and B, I don't have as things. So just to do an open water or advanced diver wasn't in my interest. So by this time I was still like, if I do things, I go all the way. So I went all the way to not only scuba dive instructor, but stress and rescue, which is like the third level of it. So I was like, all right, here I am. Took me 8 months of full-time learning and diving and working in the scuba dive school.
Wow.
But that's also when I got really, really into saving wildlife, because we did have a lot of wildlife in the ocean that really suffered there
How so you did this where exactly in Thailand?
in Phuket. Mhm.
Yeah, so I maybe would be long time ago. It must have been like 20 years, 19 or 20 years. I went scuba diving in Koh Tao,
Yeah.
and then it was like fantastic. I've heard now that
Mm.
because of all the devastation that's taking place in the oceans, coral reefs around the world, that it's not like when I saw it 20 years ago. It was
Yeah.
still pretty amazing.
Yeah. So there are a few
And,
reasons, right? So if you remember, let me get the date correct. Was it 2004 that the hurricane, was it not the hurricane,
No, tsunami.
the tsunami,
Right.
destroyed Phuket and Koh Phi Phi and all the islands down there, right?
Right.
I think it was 2004, because it was like the 10-year anniversary of it.
Yeah.
And so basically because of that, the water temperature changed by 1.5 to 2 degrees, and it caused a complete coral bleach. Complete.
Mm-hmm.
So all the reefs basically died off there. And by the time when I started scuba diving there, it has regrown a little bit, but it took a whole freaking decade for them. And actually Thailand put a lot of effort in there. So it sounds weird, but they have, it really sounds weird, but they actually sunk shipwrecks
I heard about this. Yeah,
Yeah.
right. Yeah.
to grow corals, and also different structures, like huge metal structures and whatever, where
Yeah.
corals can grow faster.
Right. Yeah. No. I've read about like lots of different kind of projects to help corals. There's like experiments. Yeah. That
Yeah.
I've been reading about just recently. Certain things that can be done to help corals sort of adapt.
Right. And people
yeah.
don't know that corals actually also count as a type of animal.
They're an animal. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
So they think like, oh, corals are nice plants, and then they pick on it, and I'm like, oh my god, I want to slap you right in the face.
Well, did you see? There's this amazing series now of the world. I forget what it's called. Is it The World at Night? They've got such good cameras. Have you not seen it? I think it's on.
I don't watch TV or shows. Maybe I should start again.
This is really amazing because all the years of watching these BBC, Natural World, Planet,
Yeah.
Blue Planet,
Yeah.
they've always been more or less in the daytime, little bits at night. But now they've got such good night cameras
Yes.
that they did an underwater one as well.
Yeah.
And so they've for the first time ever able to see like corals behaving at night, and it's they do a different thing
Amazing.
at night than they do in the daytime.
Yeah.
And all these different ecosystems at night. It's really incredible. Anywho, we're gonna get into it.
Yes.
But now we're gonna maybe just open the show properly.
Yes,
we should be
exactly. And don't forget, we are on Facebook, Relax Time Radio 93.25 FM.
Yeah.
Leave us either a comment under our fabulous new post, which type of wildlife you would want to rescue if you could, or a song request.
Yeah. I also shared. If you'd like to check the video, I did share it now on the Facebook page under that post.
Yes, please wave, because I'm waving you.
Me wave.
Yeah.
Okay.
And the people can wave back.
All right. Yes. Actually, there's a sort of 5-second delay in
I know.
in there. Well, it depends how if you. Yeah. Anyway.
I can see it.
Yeah. For us, we see a delay in the video. Okay. Let's set the show up with a little bit of music, and then we'll come back and get into our topic, which is animal lovers. What can you do to help animals in the world?
Yeah.
If that's what you want to do. Okay. Biba Doobie as usual. And then I found I found someone who has such an incredible song name that I just decided to put it. Before I even listened to the song, I thought I'm definitely playing this, whatever it sounds like. But then the song I quite liked as well. So there's this Biba Doobie first, and then Chloe Moriondo has a song called Ghost Adventure Spirit Orb. That's coming up. We'll be back shortly. Catch you in a bit. Enjoy the music.
Yes, bring it on.
Feeling shit again. Haven't left my bed. Extraterrestrial beings probably sitting tight, waiting to blow our brains away. Through the Milky Way, past the morning sun, Pluto is light years away, and all our worries, they're all gone. So quit being so negative. It's fine, it's only a temporary fix. You say I don't write happy songs, so I guess this is the first one. Through the Milky Way, past the morning sun, Pluto is light years away, and all our worries, they're all gone.
There seems to be some kind of technical difficulty with our next song. We were
The
warned by
ghosts are too spirited to play.
maybe, yeah. Actually, the technicians warned us this might happen. Some kind of problems with the internet today.
Oh, okay.
I'm working on it. Let's see. Let's just mumble along until we can get a song. What is going on here?
Well, we're sending greetings to everyone out in the world who's listening to us.
Yeah.
And I think our YouTube video is stuck too. Look at us.
Is it everything stuck?
We look great.
Everything is stuck. Well, in that case, we should just talk about our topic until we see any signs of it working again, I guess.
Yep.
We got to the end of the song. That was, I don't know, that was good timing, I guess.
Biba Doobie, bring it on, right? I mean, she's always right on.
Yeah, okay. Well, something's happening, but maybe, well, we seem to have internet back. The live stream seems to be going again. That's
Good.
all right. Let's hope it holds up. We'll bring you. We're definitely bringing you our radio show. The microphones seem to always work, and the radio waves. It's like this old reliable technology. Seems to be better than. Seems a bit more reliable than the newer stuff. Okay, what do you think we should do? Should we play this song or
Yeah, let's
Okay.
play one more.
Let's play this song. It's a short one anyway. So this is Ghost Adventure Spirit Orb by Chloe Mariando.
Yes.
Okay, take it away.
All of the time I'm thinking about things too much, and then I end up out of touch and feel a lot less real than before. I speak a lot of words but tend to say a lot less. I'm just a fucking mess, and I will shut my bedroom door. And as I iron out my brain to speak to ice cream stains, I'll stare at the ceiling stars and ponder why life's so hard. Locking the door, I will talk to my floor and I'll say, oh my friend, I'm not sure what to do to get out of this goo that I absorb. How to stop myself, hell if I know. As above, so below, I'm my own girl. time I'm scooping mud and digging graves in saltwater caves and overgrown hospitals, the like. I'll stop along the way to tell the frogs and toadstools about how I hate this body, and they'll say, oh, they'll say, we would like to help you, but it seems you're living in dreams. Come back to reality. I'll cry, wait, and I will wake up late again. And in the morning once more I will speak to the floor and I'll say, oh, my friend, I'm not sure what to do to get out of this goo that I absorb. How to stop myself, hell, if I know. As above, so below, I'm my own damn spirit orb. As above, so below, I'm my own damn spirit orb.
I feel kind of fly standing next to you.
You've been listening to Relax Time Radio on Radio Thailand Chiang Mai.
Watch our live stream on YouTube and don't forget to subscribe to our channel.
Hi, we're back. Sorry, Tom, I had to cut you off there. We had a caller, so that was why there was a little bit of the song that was actually planning to play a little bit later. That was yeah. But Tom called to with his thoughts on helping animals, and he was thinking that with social media it should be much easier now to sort of to get involved in activism.
Right.
This is Tom from not radio host Tom.
Okay.
It's Tom, who's a frequent caller to Relax Time Radio.
Hi, Tom.
Hi, Tom. And he was just saying, he's from a generation where people, maybe I'm guessing, from back in the 70s, 60s, 70s, where people protested a lot. It's a era known for protest. When people felt there was something wrong politically, they protested. So I'm not sure. Yeah, it's a double-edged sword, social media, maybe in the one sense, because if people sort of feel that they can share their ideas on social media, maybe they feel they don't have to go out in the streets so much. But then there's also still climate activism going on, like most famously recently that I can think of is the global climate Friday strikes started by, children with Greta Thunberg and
Yeah.
Children around the world, and that's sort of, that's having an impact, I would say, politically.
Right. So I think, like as you said, there's like two sides to the medal. Yes, it should definitely be easier to do something on social media and to activate more people. On the other hand, then we have social media full of people who are talking about a lot of things and who are trying to convey a message to everyone else out there. So basically, if you try to bring something up, you will certainly have the issue to run against a whole bunch of noise. So you will need to stand out, you will need to be able to catch the attention. And attention is a currency these days because our attention span is shorter than the one from a goldfish, apparently, since studies say that. So,
Right. Yeah. I mean, one thing, love of animals, but generally like cute animals like kittens and whatever, has definitely spread around the world, gone viral around the world. Cats, like people have made documentaries about how cats rule YouTube. I think Cats are
Yeah.
easily the dominant. Forget YouTube influence or Instagram influencers.
Yeah.
The real influencers are apparently cats.
I think we also have to thank Crumpy Cat here.
Grumpy cat.
Do you remember Crumpy Cat? Rest in peace, Crumpy.
No. Maybe I missed it.
What?
Well, I don't know. I feel Grumpy cat.
Oh,
Grumpy cat.
yeah.
No. Well, who's Grumpy cat?
So
Was he just like a YouTube star or something?
no, like all everywhere. So it started. It started with Crumpy Cat, and sorry, God. So I'm trying to explain it without laughing. So this cat was born with with the mouth literally like hanging down.
Okay. I mean, there's I've seen
And their
Grumpy
own-
cats.
No. That
This is one particular
the,
really
it's
famous.
the, yeah,
cat.
and it started with that cat, and they made memes, like really sarcastic memes, like I was happy once, never gonna do it again, things like that, like
Okay.
this,
Okay.
all these like really crumpy, freaking sarcastic memes, and they went viral, and it started, I think, like maybe it was like 7 or 8 or whatever years ago, and this cat only became like I think 4 or 5 years old, but this cat was at the Oscars and like everywhere. It was a huge influencer.
So, well, overall though, like in answer to Tom's question, I had to cut Tom short because we had to get back on the microphones. But
Sorry, Tom.
so I don't know like what his whole point would have been. But overall though, do you think that social media is having any help? I mean, well, in the time that we've had social media in the world, the environmental problems, the destruction of the natural world has only increased. So it definitely hasn't solved the problem.
Right.
Is it capable of helping us solve the problem?
Yes and no. If people would use it for the good intentions only, but that's not the case, and it will never be.
It's a double-edged sword, isn't it? You can use it however, for good or for bad, right?
Yeah.
Or
And
for-
so the
for
thing
nothing.
the thing is really, if it wasn't full of noise, and with noise I really mean like unnecessary rambling stuff, and I don't mean Baby Yoda memes. We do need Baby Yoda memes,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, and also we need because things, and also we need like pictures of cats and dogs. I mean, a lot,
And baby elephants.
Yeah, right, exactly.
Who swirl around their trunks, and then they fall over. Anyways, yes, but to your point, I do think like social media, for example, helps extremely for projects with like crowdsourcing. Right, crowdsourcing for everyone who doesn't know is if you ask people out there, the crowd basically, like if you ask many people to support a good cause, and this has been actually becoming really famous in different platforms. So you can even ask for support for example, for a movie project, documentaries, for a new product, a new service that you want to launch, and you don't have the money for it or whatever. But especially also for social impact causes. So yeah.
Okay. Let's go back to how we were gonna get into the topic. So how did you want to start it? How do you feel people can best get involved and help?
So I think there are a lot of different angles, right?
There are so many. Yeah.
Yeah. So I guess if I ask you this question, there's a way different answer. So I will let you answer this question too. So my answer would be, first of all, I feel like one of the best ways that everyone can help is reduce their waste, for example. So plastic waste, help me out, the green gas. I'm not good with English today. I had Tyler's.
You mean a fuel like a
Yeah.
using sort of biofuels and this kind of thing? No.
Yeah. So either travel greener, or less, or if you travel, because I get this all the time, but then you fly all these long haul flights. Okay, like we had this whole conversation about this a few weeks, months back, right?
Right.
How you can reset your flights. Even like, since you mentioned that, I always pay on top. Like I even travel with airlines that offer that
So
specifically for that.
since we
right?
had that talk, I saw news stories coming that airlines are actually in the future planning to just build that into their pricing, which seems, I don't know, yeah. I wonder how much carbon offsetting works in the long run. But you know, if it's really good carbon offsetting, then it's definitely better than none at all.
Right.
Absolutely.
And if it's just another $10 per flight, fine, put it on.
Yeah.
You
Right.
know?
Exactly.
So all these kind of things. This is the first thing. Why does it matter? So coming back to the whole scuba dive instructor story, for example,
Yeah.
if I tell you the company I was diving with, we did every 3 months they organized a reef cleanup. So they would pay for everything and everyone who would come. So everyone got offered basically free dives. Even the rental fee and everything the rental equipment was free, with the intention that you have to help us clean the reef. But you get basically to dive for free 3 times a day. We had the boat and everything, right? And you get to see all of these beautiful places, but you have to pick up trash underwater, which is not so easy, to be honest. And so you like, the first time I went out with them, we literally had to drag out washing machines in the open ocean. I'm not talking about, like obviously we went along the reef and everything, but still, you gotta take this washing machine on a truck, put it on a boat, drive it out there and dump it. Or in a river, and that goes all the way, but still, right? So washing machine, microwaves. But then that's not even it. Like, you cannot imagine how many fish or turtles or any type of underwater creatures we met. And I mean see or caught and help them to get rid of plastic or metal or whatever that was stuck with them. And so this is one thing. If we can reduce our plastic use, it will not end up in the freaking ocean. Why is that important? Well, without the ocean, there is no us. That's as easy as it is.
Right. Yeah, I mean, that's where I was thinking as well. You know, it's the first thing I thought of, plastic, and not just that, but understanding the impact of your life, like on the environment.
Yeah.
Yeah, is the seems like a huge step.
Right.
I mean, even if you think politically, going back to Tom's suggestion about like political protest. Well, for example, when election cycles and the political process comes around every 4 years or whatever it is in different countries, if you're not aware, if you haven't made yourself aware of environmental issues deeply enough, then you just get distracted by what's the word I'm looking for? The twists and turns of politics, and you won't remember to push politicians to fulfill on climate pledges and this kind of thing. I mean,
Right.
you come from a country, Germany, where actually now the Greens are one of the biggest parties. It's the first time in the world, isn't it, that they're becoming one of the biggest parties. I don't even know if you're following German politics. I've been following a little bit, and I heard that now for the first time the Green Party there is becoming one of the biggest parties. You have like a proportional representation system, so it's easier for it to happen there.
We're also trying to kick out the right-wing one.
Right.
So
Anyway, we don't want to get too much into politics, but just in terms of, just in terms of how we can have an impact, we'll have an impact in many different directions if we first find out what impact our lives are having on the climate.
Yeah.
And most people by now know, because of the, it's all over the news for the past few years, the plastic consumption, human plastic consumption, is having a devastating impact on wildlife, and especially in the oceans.
Yeah. And I still, there are still people out there who are coming back with arguments, yeah, but I only use 1 straw a day. That's 365 freaking straws a year. And if you want to know, so here is another version of a straw. It's really easy to clean. It's really nice. If you want to know how to drink without a straw, just watch Paul in a few seconds on the video. It's very easy. It's very simple. It makes life so much easier too. You do not actually need a straw. I just wanted to bring it out there because it freaks me out how people think a straw is a necessary tool to survive.
Yeah. What's happened? We don't have time to go into the roots of what
No.
happened. It comes from the consumerist
Oh, I
system
know.
that we're living.
Sure.
We should just get back into how people
How
can.
would you answer this question? And I'm aiming towards a specific answer of yours.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, I can't guess what that might be. I mean,
How do you help animals recently as well?
How do I help animals recently? Well, actually, I've been helping to organize, host, and promote a couple of fundraisers to help. But these are sort of to help. We call what's the proper term? Domestic animals. Let's just
Okay.
say. Yeah. So I mean, actually, I want to give a shout out to an event that's happening this Sunday at Tape East, and so Second Wind Ranch and Rescue.
Yes,
They're-
Jenny is awesome. Hi,
Yeah.
Jenny.
So they're an organization that rescues horses,
Yes.
especially race horses that are coming to the end of their, I guess, working life. And there's one particular racehorse that they're hoping to rescue, and they're having a fundraiser concert this Sunday, 23rd of February, at Tabe East, and you can come along and support that cause. They want to rescue a particular horse called Midnight.
Yes.
It's a racehorse.
And
here
if
in
you
Chiang Mai.
don't know, how racehorses racehorses often, not only in Thailand but in many countries, because you said they're coming to the end of the working life, that can already be if they're not getting results that people want them to get.
No, exactly. Yeah.
And then what happens is it's not that their owners just keep them and be like, oh, that's fine, just do whatever you want to do. No, they bring them to where?
Slaughterhouse.
That's right. So that's why they need to be rescued and actually have a place where they can stay. And I know that because I had the same issue in Australia where I lived for a year, and I've seen a racehorse actually die on the court during a race, which was a traumatic experience for me because I do love horses. I worked with them before too. I know Jenny, she's awesome, the one who is actually rescuing all the horses.
Yeah.
So let's help Midnight.
Yeah, let's have Midnight. My sister's actually a huge horse lover, but she's a horse rider. But she's not. She wouldn't be putting her horse down if it just
Right.
wasn't winning races
Yeah.
anymore. Definitely not.
Yeah. But the answer I was looking for from you is also the nutrition part.
Nutrition, right? Because that's had a big impact on me thinking about how I eat affects animals. I haven't become totally vegan yet, although it kind of is in my mind that I'd like to. But I did have this experience because once in my car I was following a pig truck in Thailand, and I saw these pigs on the way to the slaughterhouse, and the way that they were sniffing the air and just looking around, trying to take in the air, and looking around in the back of this truck just reminded me so much of the way my dogs did exactly the same thing. And I started crying just right there in the car. And since that time, I decided not to eat pork anymore. And I knew it made total sense to extend it immediately to other animals. It just seemed too difficult. But I stopped eating pork then, and slowly been trying to cut out other things as well.
Yeah.
And have cut out many other things.
Yeah. So I'm doing I have a very similar journey, but for other reasons. I always loved animals, and I have been always probably more connected to animals than to people over time. And so I've been able to reduce the intake of my meat to about twice a week, 2 meals a week, basically. 2 to 3, I would say. Whereas in Germany, you would have meat with every meal, basically, right? So that's 3 meals a day, you can imagine. So it's a big cutoff. But I do want to go vegan for sure, or plant based, or however you want to call it.
Yeah.
Not only for the animals, but also for my health and for also the environment. And the reason why I said, or I pointed to nutrition is, again, it makes a full circle when it comes to the whole emissions, because if we look at the environmental damage that we cause, the most comes from like farming and cattle farms.
Mm-hmm.
And we don't need all of this meat. Like, we throw actually most of it away.
I think I saw the other day that a new assessment of how much food we throw away says that we throw away even more than was, it's been recalculated and found to be even more than we thought.
And
It's
this
like,
is
I think
something
it's over
that's
30%. It's over
yeah.
all the food that people buy around the world. I'm not sure. I can't say this is true in every country, but I know that in Western countries it's been calculated that we throw away over 30% of the food that we buy.
Right, but then the food that isn't even bought, that gets thrown away from the supermarket and stuff, for example, too.
That might be getting included. I'm not sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, but that's one thing, right? So, but if we look away from things, but these are things that you can do daily. So that's why I want to kind of start with it.
Mm.
But then obviously you can go and volunteer, for example, there are also different ways you can volunteer remotely. You can just write, for example. You can write about it and raise awareness. You can donate, obviously, money or time. Or you can just go and help. Like, for example, you can help rescue horses. You can, here in Thailand, for example, you can work with street dogs and help them. Obviously, elephants. It's always a big thing, right? If people like it or not, they are not wild anymore. About 80% of elephants in Thailand are actually domestic livestock. And so they won't be wild at any time soon. And so they need help, they need to be fed, they need to be cared for. And we certainly need to help increase the ethical treatment and their living environment, and volunteers are a great way to do that.
Mm. And again, like with that too, you need to learn, don't you? Like basically, you need to educate yourself. I mean, a lot of people do these days when they travel. They find out, is there a ethical elephant rescue center, or is there a place I can go and see elephants without sort of harming them, this kind of thing, instead of just the traditional sort of elephant camp riding elephants.
I must say, though, there's a lot. So when we go that route, but it's like for many different places, right? It doesn't only go with elephants, but especially for wildlife refugees, I want to say, right? Or refuge sanctuaries, whatever.
Yeah, right.
There's a lot of misinformation out there.
Sure.
And people who come, they have expectations to be close and work with them, but have them super wild and be as if we have a whole country for them alone. And then they don't understand, especially people from Western countries who often haven't traveled much before. They just don't understand how these two expectations don't go together.
Right.
And that can be a problem, especially if they're called PETA or any other organization that doesn't always have the best intentions, and then,
Yeah, I kind of know what you mean. This there's a trust on the on the one hand, there are people that don't research things at all and just go blindly, and then on the other hand, there are people that sort of have a lot of information and maybe bring unrealistic expectations and this kind of thing.
Yeah.
It's a pretty tricky. I mean, it's tricky to let's just say it's tricky to begin to educate yourself, isn't it, on something?
Right, and it's also so the reason why I just mentioned PETA, for example, and in a context of why they not always, in my opinion, do the best work, is because sometimes they stir the pot too much, and what it does is it holds people actually back from going and support in a way that is helpful, and they rather boycott things or ecotourism or whatever. But what it does, it actually decreases the support that people can give in these areas, right? So let's just make an example. There's like sharks, right? 11 million sharks per year are killed just for their fins. So, and then they're not even killed. They are caught. They be cut the fins off alive and be thrown back into the oceans. But as soon our sharks will die out, and it's close in the next like 5 to 10 years, it can happen very soon if we keep on doing that, then the whole ocean ecosystem will just collapse, right? So now you can go and work in like shark conservation and all this type of things, or you can boycott countries that actually hunt sharks and everything. But it doesn't help, because then the money that's missing from all the tourism that can go to the places that actually help with conservation will basically open a gap, and the gap will be filled again with hunting and all the money that comes from rather unethical treatments, right? And that's the problem, and that's what people need to understand. If they really want to help, they sometimes need to take back their high expectations of how they want it to be in order to be actually making an impact, and starting with small baby steps.
Right. Okay. Should we take a break? Did you have anything else to say in this section before we take a break? Come back.
Yeah, let's have a break.
Let's have a break. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So it's getting quite heavy. It's a heavy subject. However,
Yeah, it can
yeah,
be.
just because of the damage that's been done to the natural world and all of the
Yeah, it's true.
the corrections that we do need to make, like as a society, as a global society. Anyway, let's take a break. This is Thundercat and a song called Dragon Ball Durag. If you'd like to send us in a message, you can send it to our Facebook page, Relax Time Radio, or you could also call 053-276-793, and we're live streaming on YouTube right now as well. You can also leave a message in the comments on there. Okay, we'll be back shortly.
I feel kind of fly standing next to you, baby girl. How do I look in my do-rag? Would you tell me the truth? Stay with me and love me through the night, endlessly. I'ma keep on my chains when I'm making love to you. Hold me close and let me squeeze you tight through the night. But baby girl, how do I look in my
You said we'd just drop by, but I wasn't invited. You'd already decided that I was coming too. I can't stand all these people, all trying to please you. They don't even see you the way I do. 2 a.m., haven't left, no one cares, just me I guess. But I can't leave you. I wasn't gonna say nothing, but I'm about to break something. How you gonna take all of my time? You know that I hate this place, but if you wanna stay, I do too. We'll let the night turn to day. Yeah, I'm down either way, 'cause I'm so down for you. Yeah, I can't find the patience for awkward conversations and all of these blank faces. I should leave, I haven't yet, but when you smile, I just forget that I can stay a while, I guess. I wasn't gonna say nothing, but I'm about to break something. How you gonna take all of my time? You know that I hate this place, but if you wanna stay, I do too. We'll let the night turn to day. Yeah, I'm down either way, 'cause I'm so down for you. You know that I hate this place, but if you wanna stay, I do too. We'll let the night turn to day. Yeah, I'm down either way, 'cause I'm so down for you. You know that I hate this place, but if you wanna stay, I do too. We'll let the night turn to day. Yeah, I'm down either way, 'cause I'm so down for you. I'm so down for you, so down for you, for you. I'm so down for you, for you, for you.
You've been listening to Relax Time Radio on Radio Thailand Chiang Mai.
Watch our live stream on YouTube and don't forget to subscribe to our channel.
Hey, welcome back. That was Cosmos Midnight featuring Rule with Down For You. Okay, Tom called us back and
Good.
said we've really opened a can of worms for ourselves here.
Did we?
Well, I mean, yeah, he was like so gracious. He said, you know, he was just reminiscing with me. He said, in actual fact, I said 60s and 70s. He actually said he grew up in the 50s as well. So, anyway, he's actually suggested a song. He didn't strictly speaking request it, but he just said the song that came to mind for him was the Beatles' "Come Together." So we're going to play that for you later, Tom.
Yes.
And as we were saying, I feel, and like Tom reiterated, you know, most of my ideas about how we can solve this do sort of, as Tom said, it starts with ourselves. Do sort of start with us learning about how our lifestyles impact on the natural world and animals. But we also have to not just think individually, because individually we can't possibly solve it, you know. So so that's why "Come Together" is the perfect song.
But if already everyone would start thinking individually, that would be 7+ billion people doing something. So
Sure, but but then they've been telling us, like, individually recycle, individually turn the lights off. They've been telling us this for ages, and it's not
It's not that everyone would do it.
Yeah, it's not
I
that everybody
promise you.
do it and right. It has to. You have to find a way to join people together
Yeah.
to spread it.
Yeah.
Okay, so part 2. What kind of projects are there out there that people can engage with that you know of? Let's say in Chiang Mai, because we're in Chiang Mai.
Okay, so one we already mentioned, Chinese rescue farm for the horses, right?
Second Wind Ranch and Rescue. Yeah.
Yeah. So then, certainly one that I love and I'm engaged with, obviously, is it's called the Chai Lai Orchid. They do rescue elephants, and they're improving their living situation by the day as much as they can, basically. But they also have a non-profit where they use all of the money, basically, they make with the elephants from the ecotourism, and create education for women at risk, so that we can finally get rid of human trafficking as well.
Fantastic. Yeah.
Yeah.
And there's also recently there was another fundraiser I was like involved with a little bit, and that was for All Animals Us Away, and All Animals Us Away, and they're
Yeah.
a dog rescue.
Yeah.
They sort of rescue dogs mainly from the Haya crematorium in
Yeah.
Chiang Mai.
I follow them
And-
because I'm trying not to adopt the puppy, but or actually a senior dog, because I think senior dogs should be more adopted.
Mhm.
I'm trying not to, but I do follow them and all of the other dog rescues.
I know they're cute. They came to Taipei East with a big board full of puppy photos.
Yeah, so while we're at dog rescue, so there's a soy dog. They're big in Thailand.
And also there's care for dogs in Chiang Mai as well.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
WSV.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which is really great about them is the WSV is I think a branch of a bigger foundation that is I think they are worldwide. And what they do is they even host volunteer weeks and I don't want to call it a retreat because it sounds so wrong.
Yeah.
Volunteer experience, basically.
Well, we did a show on volunteerism, didn't we?
But they for veterinary students, basically. So if you're a veterinary student, you can come to Thailand and work with them for a couple of weeks and help them, for example, to fix up all the new street dogs and
Yeah,
kittens.
I
and
mean, I
whatever.
have some friends that work for Loop Abroad, Taylor Cantrell. I worked with him at one point. And they also work with. They bring vets from around the world to work at the Thai Elephant Conservation Center in Lampang as well.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And I
but they work in many different places actually.
Right.
Yeah.
And I think that's amazing because if you're, for example, a student who is, in college for becoming a veterinary, this is amazing to get work experience, isn't it? And then in a beautiful country like Thailand, why not, right?
Right.
So there's that. Then I know about the wildlife refuge.
Right.
I think they have over, I don't want to say a wrong number, 600 animals that they take care of.
In Mae Wang, is that as well? No. There's one.
It's somewhere around Chiang Mai.
Right.
Is it in Mae Wang?
Well, maybe there's one refuge actually in Mae Wang, but they. Yeah, I'm trying to
So
search it now actually.
They're basically a foundation.
Changdao, Changdao Wildlife Sanctuary. No, that's different.
Yeah. Well, I can tell you in a second. So basically, they're a foundation, and they have 3 different projects, and they are. Let me tell you where it is. So they're basically working. It's called the. So the Wildlife Rescue Center. They even have. Oh, maybe it's not in.
Not the Wildlife Friends Foundation.
No, so it's in Phetchaburi. I'm sorry, that's not here.
Okay.
Yeah, but they do have orang-utans and different type of sorts of monkeys and all kind of other things. But they do have also a elephant.
Didn't we we had someone on the radio, quite a while back that was from that had had worked on, worked for one of these organizations, for this organization that you're talking about, maybe, yeah.
So the foundation is called Wildlife Friends Foundation Thailand. And they have like different projects. So they have an elephant refuge, they have this wildlife rescue center, and they have a hospital and a welfare clinic. And basically you can go and volunteer with them as well.
Right, yeah, they have so they have like multiple centers maybe around Thailand. They definitely have the Gibbon Release and Research Center in Mae Hong Son.
Yeah, that's a different one that you're looking at. No, actually not.
I think it's the same name.
Oh,
Wildlife Friends Foundation Thailand.
it just looks different.
Is it?
On
Maybe,
the-
maybe
yeah.
it's different. I don't know.
But yeah, so this is one, for example. And then what else do we know?
In the top of my head, nothing's coming to my head. But over the years, I've met people from so many different organizations.
Right. I actually recently heard about one that I wanted to research more. So we all know about the Tiger Kingdom and what happens to the tigers after they are not attractive enough anymore. Or maybe you haven't heard of it.
Yeah, well, I've heard things about various tiger projects. Yeah.
And so I heard about that there will be actually a tiger sanctuary kind of thing coming up, or is already here, but I want to research more about it. So I need to find out what's the name and how legit.
Because the government had to go in and rescue the tigers from the temple in Kanchanaburi, didn't they? I think.
Oh, but that's a long time ago.
That's a
yeah.
while. That's a long time ago. Yeah.
I actually been to this temple in
I-
Kanchanaburi in 2014.
Yeah.
But that's already so a year before, I think. It's when they rescued all the tigers out of there.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, I've seen some of the places they've been held. It was horrible. Yeah. So other than that, I mean, literally there are a lot of places, and the best way to find them is either to, for example, Google, obviously. If you're rather interested in wildlife, then wildlife volunteering Thailand, for example, is a good keyword search. If you rather volunteer with like cats and dogs and this domestic animals, as you would say it, then I would rather specifically search for volunteer with dogs, or volunteer with cats, or volunteer with fish. And otherwise, a very good way is always to ask people who live here for connections.
Right. So these ideas are more for people that want to specifically like volunteer and help directly, and obviously, especially people, if people have qualifications or intend to do it professionally, either with NGOs or as veterinarians, this kind of thing. That's different. But in general, most people are going to find probably that the best way that they can help animals in general is just by examining their own lives, isn't it? And looking at the impacts of their lives on, as we talked about in the first part of this talk. In terms of like volunteering for on projects, well, in my experience, several times a year there are always different events organized. Like for example, Care for Dogs will have an annual day. Adoption days. They have, you can, for example, if you would be interested in adopting a dog, you can contact, one of the organizations like All Animals Ask Away or Care for Dogs.
Yeah.
Care for Dogs, I think, also have cats as well, don't they? I believe. I remember.
I think most of the dog shelters have cats too.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, definitely. What I think, for example, you don't even have to leave your home to help, right? So if you do see an animal on the street or anywhere that seems to not have a color, and it seems lost, or it seems hungry, or it seems thirsty, why don't you just put some water there and maybe some legged food. Obviously, what depends on your country where you live in. We put in rice here for the dogs, but in Germany, no one ever would give rice to the dogs, right? So, but it doesn't have to. It doesn't even have to cost anything. Water is usually free. Like dogs don't have to drink, bottled water. You can give them tap water. But for example, I'm just thinking of Australia, right? The huge bushfires, fires, and everything. So many animals have lost their lives.
Hundreds of millions. It's like terrifying.
It's horrendous, But why don't you? So that's one thing, right? If you live, for example, in a house with a garden, that sound maybe weird, but why don't you just take some animals that are burned or need help or whatever for a few days and pebble them up and then bring them somewhere where no fires are burning? Or, just go around and with like tons of water and bring water to them or whatever you could, like, doesn't take so much time.
Well, that's actually good. You've just reminded me. I mean, when the bee specialist Paul Page was in, I asked him because I'd heard of this idea from Europe that if there was anything people could do in the city or in their homes to help bee species. And he said, yeah, if you can put flowers, if you have like wildflowers, or then if there are flowers in the city, it helps the bees.
Right.
And then also, but it's one thing that people do in I know in England where I'm from, people like to help birds out in the winter by putting out food. Especially when the ground's frozen, this kind of thing. Yeah,
we do that too, but then you want to make sure that you put out the right food, because there are some foods that kill birds in the winter because they it swells up in the stomach, for example. So in Germany, they actually made a point to make in the winter they have, I don't know if we have signs somewhere out there, but often it says like, if you want to help the birds, please make sure to buy specific food for them and not, just put like peanuts or whatever out there.
Yeah.
Or bread, because bread is like swelling, But anyways, and then it can freeze in stomach. Yeah. But with the bees, for example, when I moved to Thailand here into the house, downstairs in the old kitchen, I have a huge swarm of bees. Like, it's so big that when it once came out to go into the trees, first of all, it sounded like a helicopter around me, and I couldn't see anymore because everything was black. Like, literally, it was. Wow. I have videos. It was amazing. Like it. And so my landlord asked me if I want them to be removed. I was like, oh my God, no, leave them there. Like, they don't do anything to me.
Well, you're special because when I had that show, the number one question from callers was, how do I get rid of the bees from my house? I mean, people didn't want to kill them, but they wanted to know if someone could come and take them away.
But it's literally like downstairs in the old kitchen. I don't use it. I just have the laundry, like my washing machine next to it, right? So they don't disturb me. But I literally went out and asked a lot of Thai people, which flowers do bees use here? Because I felt like they don't get enough food or whatever they like, pollen, right?
Pollen, yeah.
So I asked around what flowers can I put there so they get easier, because every other areas around us are full of chemicals other than our own garden there. So, but it was super interesting. And then, I can show you the videos later.
I'm a little bit scared of bees because when I was a kid, I was sort of allergic to the stings.
Yeah. But then, so what I literally learned was if you're not hectic around them and everything, they just leave you alone. And it literally works every single time. I just blow them away and they don't do anything to me. And I've been in the middle of this swarm and I sat on my terrace and they're all there and I was like, this is nuts. This is really insane. But I loved it,
Yeah, wow.
And my landlord was like, oh my God, we need to bring them away. I was like, if you touch them, I promise you, like, bees are dying. This is my house. So yeah, we left them there.
Well, I don't know. Are you going to take them with you to your new house?
I wish. I already said to my agent that she needs to find tenants who leave them in there or don't even tell them to.
Well, maybe you can. Apparently, there, you can. Well, it depends. Were they honeybee? They must have been honeybees if they were living in a colony like that. Because from what I understood of the conversation, most bees don't. So if they're living in a big colony, then it's honeybees.
I mean, I'll show you the video when we're done.
And if they're honeybees, then you can find beekeepers that will come and take them.
Yeah. But then, I mean, that might be stressful for them too.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
They don't do anything. They're really nice bees.
I'm glad there are people like you that think this way. All right. Well, let's play that song for Tom.
Yes.
And then come back and talk about, we'll at least give our top 3 favorite ways of helping animals through social impact.
Yes.
And wrap up the conversation.
Thanks for calling, Tom.
Thanks, Tom. Okay, so for Tom, this is not new music. This is the Beatles. This is great music. This is the Beatles and come together. All right, we'll be back.
Got to be a
You've been listening to Relax Time Radio on Radio Thailand Chiang Mai.
Watch our live stream on YouTube and don't forget to subscribe to our channel.
All right, that was the Beatles come together. How do we wrap it up? Apart from giving our top three, we got anything else to do before we give our top three?
Did we already talk about how we can get started?
Well,
Probably.
yeah, sort of. But I think we can sort of answer it through the top three as well.
Okay. Let's do it.
Who's going first? You want me to go first?
Always.
Well, I think I've said this about 3 times already, but my top one way would be, to learn about yourself and your lifestyle and your sort of culture's lifestyle and impact that has on the natural world. And then like number 2 would be, and it definitely goes together with that one, would just be to get out into nature as much as you can, so that you can just sort of deepen your appreciation for it, and that will help you to feel like doing something, and just to appreciate the awesome beauty of nature, and you'll just naturally want to protect it. Number 3, I would say that opportunities will present themselves, because they always have. I mean, here in Chiang Mai maybe especially, but maybe anywhere. I mean, I think opportunities will just present themselves continually. So, for example, I didn't initiate any of these things, but I, once took in some street dogs that just wandered into my house, and then a friend of mine was sort of started the Last Straw campaign in Chiang Mai, and I got involved in that and played concerts, and we started thinking about how to reduce plastic in my life in many ways, like from carrying fruit boxes around and not shopping certain places certain ways. Then you'll just see events, like for example, you'll just see events all around Chiang Mai, animal charities, or just it could be like tree planting events. I've done some tree planting and gotten involved in digging holes and this kind of thing.
Cleaning up and everything.
Cleanups, all this kind of thing. So I just think that if you keep your eyes out, if you do the first 2 things, then opportunities you'll just start to see them, and you can get involved like that.
Yeah, I love that. I think so. My top 3 is I would love to start a little bit before the educating part. So I want to help everyone with a little perspective shift. So I want you to think about, if you have already kids, or if you will have kids, or never, it doesn't really matter. Maybe your brother or your sister have kids, or there will be something in your family with kids, probably. If you want them to see what you've been able to see, either on TV or in real life, then you may as well have to move your butt more to actually preserve that. Because we're not anymore at the place where we can, make it nicer. It's literally only the time to save and rescue and preserve. There's no whatsoever place for, finding new things or whatever. It's literally just damage.
Damage control, recovery,
Yeah. So I want you to understand that, like, and it's not about like fault or blame or shame, but it has to do with the perspective shift. If you want your kids or your grandkids or your sisters, brothers, whomever, kids and their kids to see what you've been able to see, like for me, I want my niece and my nephew to visit the elephants that I have such a bond with, but either they need to hurry up really fast to come over here, but they're only 8 and 10, so that's a thing. Or I need to do way more to be able to keep them alive and keep them in the place, basically, to make them see that. So this is a huge perspective shift. So with everything that you do, I want you to ask yourself this question: is this help to preserve and conserve our planet, or am I just adding to the problem? So this is one. And then number 2 would be literally to just look at your lifestyle and see whether you're unnecessarily living convenient and comfortable, and if you can make yourself a little bit more uncomfortable, but for the impact that can change basically everything. And again, ask yourself this question: if I can do it, someone else can do it. So if I do it and someone else sees it, maybe they will do it too. So it's a ripple effect. It's this domino. So be the number one domino. Just because someone else doesn't do it doesn't mean that you don't have to do it. So leave out these plastic straws. Don't buy these plastic cups. Don't carry another plastic bag. Stop throwing this away. Like, I would use all the swearing words right now because I want to emphasize it, but on national radio I try not to.
You try, but you have to try hard.
I
I've noticed.
really try hard because it's so I'm so passionate. If you ever, I promise you, if you ever had a parrotfish, and they're really precious animals as well, if you ever had to remove a plastic straw and everything from a parrotfish jaw, basically, you don't buy this stuff anymore. And it's really like, it drives me insane if people are running around and then throw it at the side of the road. If I see you, I punch you in the face, I promise you. For real. So just don't do it, and we're both fine. It's a win-win. And the third one, before I get too much into my passion mode here, the third one would be really just go a step further, look around, right? So look around if any of the animals need help. Is it a family that has to give away their pet? Can you take it in and foster it maybe? Can you help with, like, for example, why do you shop animals if you can adopt them? You don't have to go breed new dogs. We have shelters full of dogs.
Right.
Don't go and shop new dogs, adopt them. Same with cats, birds, fish, I don't even know all of the pets. Like, oh my god, I have so many things. But that's been 3, I guess.
That'll do. I mean, I like that first one, the perspective shift. Because that's normally I wasn't thinking that there would be anything before learning, but needs to be like that spark sometimes, doesn't it, to get you to want to even learn.
If I tell you how many different types of plants, but also animals die out already every day, you'd cry, and I'd cry about it so many times because it's ridiculous. When I think about what my niece and nephew cannot see anymore, what I've seen, it's crazy to me because it's like, who are we to destroy that for someone else?
Right.
You know?
I mean, this is anecdotal, but even though it's anecdotal, it fits with the scientific readings on temperature increases. But in Chiang Mai, I've talked to older people, older farmers, Thai people who lived here all their lives, and they just say the hot seasons, they don't remember them being anywhere near this hot. They're like 3 degrees warmer than they used to be. Now think about 3 degrees when it gets to 40 or 42. That's a lot. So like you said, when you think about your children, well, do you want your children to be having temperatures of 48 or 50 in the hot season? And then how much worse the forest fires going to be? If you can see from Australia, how bad forest fires can get when the temperature gets really, really high.
And then again, it only takes 0.8 degrees Celsius actually to cause a coral bleach again. So the whole ocean only needs to be, and then again, if there is no rainy season or no proper rainy season like we had last year, it wasn't a big rainy season like usually. So if the hot season gets hotter and the rainy season gets less, then the level of the ocean could sink a little bit, which will increase the temperature of the ocean as well. 0.8 degrees Celsius is...
It could,
Was I too fast?
Well, no, I was just thinking: is it possible? Is it possible? The oceans are going up. It's not that the oceans can go down. The oceans are actually going higher.
It
the
depends
flooding.
where we are in the world. So we had.
There are
we
some
had the-
differences. Yeah, that's interesting, isn't there? There are some differences. Yeah, but in general, the ocean levels are rising and islands are getting wiped out.
Right. But it's also like the problem is also like if there's such a dry season and really hot.
Rivers don't. If rivers dry up and this kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But there can be and will be like temperature increase for oceans as well, for example. And we had this, as I said, like after the
It's already happened. I mean, I know it's already happened. Yeah. That's why.
tsunami.
That's the number one reason. I mean, I think apart from, it's the number one reason why corals are bleaching is because of ocean increase. It changes the carbon content, or it changes the acidity, right? So the acidity of the oceans is changed by the temperature.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then the problem is if you look at it, if the corals bleach out, the small fish will go because they eat the corals, and then the big fish will go. And also a reason why we didn't have many whale sharks and dolphins and everything and sharks around at this time in southern Thailand.
Yeah.
Hopefully they're back.
All right. Well, thanks everybody for bearing with us through our quite heavy conversation. We'll have to find something light to talk about one of these days, sometime soon, won't we? Since it's supposed to be relaxed time radio. But anyway, also don't forget the cute little kittens and dogs. Those are also animals, and
True.
we should. And also, I did like your I loved your poster for our Facebook picture image for this show today.
Thank you.
That's so cool.
It's gonna be the new one.
And that we don't know who, but this is from Chiang Mai street art, isn't it?
Yeah, so so I chose this new one it's a Chiang Mai mural in the background, and I think it's from this famous Chiang Mai artist who actually died a few years ago.
Oh, really?
If I'm not saying something wrong, but I think so. Yeah.
Okay.
I will find out for you.
All right. Well, I guess we'll wrap it up and leave you with a bit of music to go out with. I have a song called Inappropriate Behavior, which is very appropriate.
Yeah, that's a great one.
By Lime Cordial.
Bring it on.
So thanks very much for listening. Tomorrow it's Kun Tom Jarun Rod Kasesuk with Legal Matters, and we'll be back next week. Will you be away next week? Are you still here?
I'm here.
You're still here? Okay.
I'm not leaving through Fridays. I plan properly.
Oh, yeah, of course. Okay. All right.
Sunday through Wednesday.
Excellent. See you next week, everybody. Thanks for listening. This is Lime Cordial with Inappropriate Behavior.
Donate for Second Wind and elephants. Bye.
I was on the road to meet you halfway. Yeah, I was on my way to a face-to-face, but I don't see how you take it. You never tried to smile, falling at your feet daily. But now I know you're just making faces to not offend. Don't treat me dumb, try to see it both ways. That friend telling you better you watch your weight, but I don't see how you take it. You never tried to smile. You're falling for that friend again. She's what I say, a manipulator. It's just inappropriate behavior to put those ideas in your head. Anyway, to sway you in her favor. Madness is the love that I'm gonna get. Have I ever once treated you bad or nasty? Before you talk with your friends, you never did complain. Now she takes the cake for putting words in your mouth. She's never even met me, baby. I forget that when her words are coming out of you, you're saying I was on my way to a face-to-face, but I don't see how I'll take it. You never see me smile, I'm falling at your feet again. She's what I say, a manipulator. It's just inappropriate behavior to put those ideas in your head. Anyway, they sway you in your favor. Madness
You've been listening to Relax Time Radio on Radio Thailand Chiang Mai.
Watch our live stream on YouTube and don't forget to subscribe to our channel.